Okay, kind of hanging on the boat today. I'm back living on the boat. So I'll apologize for the glare you just got from behind me as I reach for my tea. I'll try to keep my head blocking that hatch out. This boat needed work when I got it, so there's no curtain across the V-berth as there should be, so I can't do anything about that hatch right now. I guess I could close it to block out, and the tinted glass would block out more of the Lexan would block out more of the glare, but if I close it, I'm not going to have a breeze coming through here, and I need it right now. And the title of this video, Ashamed of America. It's not that I'm ashamed to be American. I'm not ashamed of the country. I'm proud of the ideals this country was founded on. I'm proud to live in a country that has the Constitution we have, that has the Bill of Rights we have. It's more that I'm ashamed of the people in this country and the things that they're doing. I mean, Indiana, Arkansas, Michigan trying to do the same thing, Georgia trying to do the same thing. I'm sure Alabama's going to follow suit. It's ridiculous. These aren't freedom of religion acts. I mean, you've already got freedom of religion guaranteed under the First Amendment, so you don't need these state laws. These laws allow people to discriminate against anybody and everybody. As long as they confine to their private business, I have no issue with it. You don't want to serve homosexuals, don't serve homosexuals, but do me a favor and put a sign up letting people know who you're going to discriminate against, who you don't want to come into your store and pay you for a service, so that I know not to walk in that store. So you don't just lose the business of homosexuals, you lose the business of anybody who is against your bigotry as well. That should be part of the law, that you have to put notice up in your windows. And I think it's ridiculous that we would create a law protecting people who want to discriminate, because the laws are written ambiguously. It's not just so they can discriminate against homosexuals. They can discriminate against anyone based on their religious beliefs. So they can discriminate against other religions. And this, once again, is covered under federal law. You cannot discriminate against anyone based off race, religion, age, etc., etc. If you want to open a business and not service a percentage of the population, why bother opening a business? But again, if that's the type of person you want to be, if you want to openly be a bigot, then by all means do so. But advertise the fact. And I think it's ridiculous that anybody would support this bigotry. Now, I am completely against the threats that pizza business got. Saying burn down the business or kill the proprietor or whatever. I'm completely against that. That is ridiculous. We don't pay back bigotry with hatred. We try to change the bigots' minds. We try to bring them into the modern age to enlighten them. We don't threaten them. So I'm completely against that. But what I think is ridiculous is that stupid FundMe that last night was over $400,000. So we have so many other bigots willing to support this business that they're just donating money to this. And the guy will probably never have to work again. He doesn't need to open his business back up because he's gotten so much money donated to him. If he manages it right, there's no reason for him to ever work again. And that shows the level of bigotry and the amount of support for that bigotry that we have in the United States right now. It shows the lack of education, the lack of knowledge, the lack of understanding. And people run around, oh, homosexuality is unnatural, it's against God's law. Well, it's against your God's law, fine and dandy. But it's not unnatural. Almost 1,600 species have been observed to have homosexual members. Some of those species have long-term monogamous homosexual relationships. So it's perfectly natural for that same percentage of human beings to be homosexual. Just because we don't understand it, just like we didn't understand the races not so many years back. And we thought one race was less than another because of the color of their skin or the shape of their nose. And that's ridiculous. We threw out those Jim Crow laws. And now we're reinstituting a new flavor of Jim Crow law. And actually, it's even worse because it's not, oh, homosexuals have to ride on the back of the bus. No, homosexuals can't even get on the fucking bus. But again, I don't care if you, as long as it's restrained to private business. But the state of Alabama was trying to say, well, employees of the state who are paid by tax dollars paid by homosexuals can refuse to provide their civic services or civil services to homosexuals on religious grounds. And that's bullshit. If you're being paid by tax dollars to perform a legal service, be it justice of the peace and performing marriages or what have you, or issuing marriage licenses, just because your religion says, oh no, same-sex can't marry, does not mean you no longer have to do the job you're being paid to do as a civil function. And if you can't perform that civil duty, then you need to go find another fucking job. And you need to give back about 10% of the salary that you've earned in this state, because the whole time you were working, homosexuals were paying your fucking salary, and you had no issue with taking their goddamn money. The only issue came was when you needed to do your job for those people, the job you were being paid for by those people. So keep it in the private sector, and that's fine. Just make sure you put a billboard up in the window listing who you won't serve, so I know not to walk in your fucking door too. Because if you won't serve my next door neighbor or my cousin or my friend who's a homosexual, I'm not going to walk in your goddamn door. And that's just a figure of speech. It's not that I believe there's a God that's going to damn anything. So yes, I am ashamed of these laws that are getting passed. And I know it's not everybody in these states. I mean, the governor in Arkansas gave that speech or whatever, and he said his own son had signed the petition asking him to veto that bill, which shows there are reasonable, intelligent people in these states. Unfortunately, they are just not the ones in power. It's the religious who have the power. It's the religious that push these things through. And Indiana has already, within just a few days after passing their stupid bigotry law, went back and modified it. They've already had to amend it. They've already had to change it because it was basically unconstitutional. And another thing I'm saddened about right now and ashamed of is that the Supreme Court is still taking their sweet frickin' time. Oh, we're going to decide this summer, sometime around mid-June. Well, they need to get off their asses, hold a special session, whatever they need to do, and go ahead and settle this question. The federal government needs to be notifying these states, hey, discrimination is not going to be tolerated, it's unconstitutional, you cannot have these types of laws. We need to take action. But as long as this bullshit continues, I'll be ashamed of the actions and the direction that this country is taking and headed in. Because that was not the intent when this country was founded. That was not the intent behind the Bill of Rights. Protecting your right to worship the God of your choice is not the same as saying you're allowed to persecute other people, because that was going on at the time. You had Quakers killing Puritans, Puritans killing Catholics, Catholics killing Lutherans. States where a Catholic could not hold any public office or trust. States where only a Catholic could hold a public office or trust. So the Bill of Rights was to stop all that bullshit. No religious test can ever be given or required in order to hold public office. Yet today, if a guy was running, and he could be the best qualified for the job, but if he was an admitted atheist, he wouldn't get elected. And it should never be part of the question. These guys going, oh, I've got Christian family values and I'm going to Christian church, and it's all part of their ad campaign, should not be in that campaign, because that's your personal beliefs. They have nothing to do with the job you're supposed to do for everyone in this country. So yes, I am ashamed of the way Americans are acting right now. I am ashamed of the things they're doing to one another. And that includes being ashamed of the people making threats against these businesses who are proposing that they be allowed to adhere to their bigotry. Because if we're acting no better than they are, then we're not any better than they are. No minds will ever change. But you don't change minds by meeting hate with hate. Of course, in the United States, you can't change minds with evidence either, because people simply toss it out if it goes against their personal ideology. So yes, I'm ashamed of what we're doing in this country right now.